As much as we would like it to be the case, depression isn't something that just disappears after treatment. For many people, it's a condition that requires ongoing care and attention. So, one of the biggest challenges with depression is preventing relapse, which is when the symptoms return after a person's felt better for a period of time. And so, in today's video, I want to talk about how we can stay ahead of depression by focusing on three key strategies: planning for stressors, recognizing early warning signs of depression, and having an emergency action plan in case depression returns. So, the idea is that these tools aren't about avoiding depression entirely, because that's not possible. But the idea is to give yourself the best chance of managing it effectively and being able to bounce back quickly if you ever do experience a return or a relapse of depression. It's important to recognize that stress is one of the most common triggers for a relapse of depression. And so, uh, planning for stress becomes really important. And planning for stress means identifying situations, people, or events that tend to increase our stress levels, and by thinking ahead about how you're going to be able to handle them. So, what you want to do is to anticipate major life changes. Things like a new job, or starting a new job, or moving, or a change in a relationship. These events, even if they're positive or negative, can be stressful. If you know transitions tend to throw off your balance, what you want to do is to plan ahead. So, for example, if you're returning to work after a period of depression, what you want to consider is maybe negotiating a graduated return to work. So you start off with part-time hours before eventually transitioning to full-time hours. It's important in terms of managing stress to set boundaries. Identify the people or the situations that tend to drain your energy and set clear boundaries with those people. This might mean saying no to extra commitments or limiting your time with people who tend to leave you feeling kind of depleted. You know, those relationships that are very one way. And so you finish talking to this person, and you feel really drained by it. It's important to maintain your self-care routines. When life gets busy, it's tempting to sort of drop those activities that helped you feel better. Things like exercise, socializing, hobbies. But these are key. These are the things that help keep us stable and balanced. Self-care is a necessity. It's maintenance. It's not some sort of luxury that you can just give up when things get stressful. If running helps clear your mind, or getting together with a friend for coffee helps lift your mood, it's important to schedule these activities into your daily routine, even under conditions of stress, probably especially under conditions of stress. You want to adjust your expectations. If you're someone who sets really high standards for yourself, it's important to recognize that these standards might need to be flexible. You may need to let go of non essential tasks to allow yourself to sleep better or to feel less overwhelmed, particularly when you're under stress. So you can think of stress planning kind of like packing an umbrella before it rains. You don't wait until you're soaked to realize that you need the umbrella, but rather by anticipating the challenges and having the tools ready to manage them, you can help create a buffer between stress and your mental well being. The second key component to relapse prevention and depression is recognizing the early warning signs. Even with the best planning, there may be times when you start to feel the beginnings of a depression relapse. These early signs are kind of like the check engine light in your car. They're not the problem in itself, but they're a signal that something might need attention. The tricky part is that these early warning signs can often be subtle and easy to miss, especially if we're busy or distracted or stressed. So, so what are some of the early warning signs that you might want to look out for? Well, changes in sleep patterns, either sleeping too much or too little. If you find that you've lost interest in activities that you used to enjoy doing, if you notice you're more irritable or on edge, snappier, kind of have a shorter fuse, If you notice that your energy levels have shifted, if you're constantly feeling tired, if you're keeping to yourself more, withdrawing from friends or family, if you're having difficulty concentrating, having problems making decisions, what you want to do is to keep an eye out for these early warning signs. And one way to do this is to keep a mood journal. And so this doesn't have to be complicated. Just jot down a few notes each day about how you're feeling, what you did during the day, any changes that you've noticed. And over time, what you'll see is that you might start to recognize some patterns that are examples of your personal warning signs. And so once you recognize your early warning signs, what I encourage people to do is to create sort of mental stop signs when they notice these things. So, for example, if you have a history of overworking, your mental stop sign might be when you find yourself staying late at the office several nights in a row. If isolation is an early warning sign for you, your big stop sign might be when you notice you've gone a week or so without talking to a close friend. When you notice these early warning signs, it's a time for yourself to recognize, to stop, and to ask yourself, is this behavior that I'm doing leading me in a direction that I don't want to go? Is this behavior kind of an early warning sign, an early step towards a potential depression relapse? And if the answer is yes, what you want to do is to take intervening steps at that time, because it's a lot easier to make a course correction early on than it is if you've experienced a full depressive relapse. But even with the best planning for stressors and heightened awareness of early warning signs of depression relapse, you might find that there are times where you do experience a relapse. And it's at these times where it's really important to have a clear plan to remind yourself what you need to do if you ever find yourself in that situation. And I refer to this as an emergency action plan. It's like a roadmap giving you a clear direction for what you need to do if you find yourself ever experiencing a major depressive episode again. So you want to have a few things in this mood emergency action plan. The first is you want to think about who is in your support network. Make a list of trusted friends or family members, or if you had a therapist that helped, make a list of all the people that you can turn to for support. Keep their contact information somewhere easy that you can find. So have your therapist's phone number in this mood emergency action plan. So if you ever do find yourself in a situation where you're feeling really down, you don't have to search and find it. It's right there for you. You also want to outline specific steps, specific things that you're going to do if you ever find yourself in a depressive episode again. Write down the actions that helped you feel better, right? So think about, what were the things that helped you come out of the depression in the first place? Reaching out to someone for support. Did you practice relaxation techniques? Did you engage in activities that made you feel better? Listening to music, going for walks? Did you focus on rest and reducing unnecessary obligations or stress? You want to think about and list what were the things that were really effective for you in terms of recovering from depression, as a reminder of, I need to go back to doing these things. In your emergency action plan, you want to include professional resources. Like I mentioned, your therapist's contact number, crisis hotline phone numbers, your doctor's details. If you're taking medication, include a reminder to check in with your doctor if you notice any changes in your mood, right? So these are things, as much as you can, you want to write them down so you don't have to think about them if you're ever experiencing a depressive episode. Uh, what you can also do in terms of this emergency action plan is to set up agreements with people you trust. Let a close friend or family member, let them know to tell you if they notice that you're withdrawing. They give them permission to check in and to encourage you to seek help. Sometimes other people can recognize problems before we do. Ultimately, relapse prevention isn't about eliminating stress or guaranteeing that you're never going to experience depression symptoms again. It's about having the tools and strategies in place to help you manage those challenges when they arise. By planning ahead for stressors, by recognizing your early warning signs, and by having a concrete action plan that you can do if you notice those depression symptoms return, you're giving yourself the best chance of either preventing depression or bouncing back as quickly as you can. Because depression thrives in isolation and unpredictability and avoidance. But by taking a proactive approach to preventing depression relapse, by staying connected, by monitoring your mental health, and by having this plan, you're building your resilience. You don't need to be afraid of relapse, but you do need to be prepared for it. And with these strategies in place, you're going to be in a much stronger position to manage any potential depressive episodes that may occur. And if you're interested in learning more about some of the symptoms and signs of depression, I'd encourage you to check out this video. So that's all for today's video. As always, thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one.